After a disgusting move, accused of thugging Nikola Jokic, the marquee Saturday afternoon, much anticipated matchup amongst the NBA giants, two of the greatest big men of this generation, going head to head in the Joker's house. Things were looking right, jokes on Embiid for not playing. The reigning MVP having the audacity to miss another game in Denver, absolutely weak, pathetic, cowardly, all that 70-point game don't mean jack shit against weak competition when he can't even get past the second round of the playoffs, play like doo-doo in the semis, no more excuses for the soon-to-be 30-year-old. Continues to put up monster scoring numbers all regular season. We all know what Joel's capable of every night, but can he do that in the biggest of games, come games 6 and 7 of the semis, or continue shitting the bed? After seeing his best players, Maxey and Harris, not playing, Embiid decided to ride the bench. Few years ago, Jokic showed up in Philly without Jamal or MPJ, having Frank Campazzo and Monte Morris in the starting lineup, and guess what? Won that game in Embiid's home floor. One of the weakest moves by a superstar player. The fact that 69-year-old LeBron and 56-year-old Steph Curry continues to ball out and perform like it's 2018 goes to show the truly great ones competing, always showing up in the biggest of games, never taken for granted, leaving every ounce of greatness out there. And for Embiid, where the fuck he at? Chirping with fans, did the exact same shit last season and still won the MVP? March 27, missed the Denver game, decided to play the next game and the next, and a week later, dropped 52. Of course, played the previous 13 contests before randomly sitting out in the Mile High, going on interviews, talking about he don't really care about the MVP race when complained about the voting metrics in the past, 4 straight games sitting out in Denver, simply allergic competing on the road when the matchup supposed to be arguably his most important game of the season. The lack of competitiveness, one would think he circled the game on the calendar. From getting all the praise after 70, doing a complete 360, said his knees bothering him, elected to miss the Portland game because if he didn't, it would just prove many people's points right, accusing him of ducking. Not being on the injury report, leading to countless speculations, waiting till the last minute, having zero shame, already hurt his reputation. Every time he puts up stinkers in the playoffs, worse high-level competition. Actions like these is when many pull out the receipts and be hiding from good competition. 5 games away from not being eligible to win MVP, a new rule made that should convince players to stop missing games. Jokic focused on the bigger picture, winning a title, and Embiid continued with the usual second round meltdowns, getting shifted away from most of the blame when getting locked down by Marc Gasol 2019. Philly decided to let Jimmy Butler go when all the focus the Atlanta series on Ben Simmons' awfulness. Embiid didn't play so well either, and after last season, Harden won it out. Doc Rivers fired, while Jokic never campaigned about awards, lost multiple playoffs without his star players, and took the blame as a leader. Jokic got his eye poked against the Knicks, didn't make any excuses. What's the point of scoring 70 when Joel caused his team to lose the next 2 games? From already playing terrible Detroit, Washington, and Toronto 3 times already, of course, he goes off on teams he knows he can dominate with ease. First missed game of the season, of course, the first place Timberwolves on the road, giving him 3 extra days rest. 12 road games played, missed 10. Let's start with the 2 played against the stinky Hornets. Started Brian McGowan and PJ Washington at center. The struggling Nets, another easy win. The all-time bad Pistons, 33 and 41 points. Missed the game in Orlando. Started first 2 games of the season away from home. Why would he miss those? One of them being the high-level Bucks, elected to miss the Boston game on the road, came back to drop 50 on the pathetic Wizards, played in OKC after not suiting up in Minnesota, played against Indiana without Halliburton, a blowout loss, stay in till late third quarter to keep his 30-point streak alive. The average performance of wins, 8 of those 12 squads below 500. Looking at the games missed before Portland, 6 of the 9 teams above 500 records, Heat and Celtics. Joel shit the bed to both last 2 postseasons. After a 44-point win over the Lakers, missed the Pelicans and Celtics due to illness, basically 9 days off, only to dominate with a 50-piece in Washington. Of course, no show for one of the biggest regular season days of the year, Christmas Day in Miami, a matchup everybody was looking for. I watched 0 minutes of that and couldn't be happier. If the NBA was smart, they can take Joel away from 2024's Christmas game since he has a big history not showing up to big matchups when guys like LeBron never missed a single Christmas game. Joel rolls his ankle first quarter of previous game, still played 35 minutes to keep his 30-point streak going. Next 4 on the road, missed all of them at Orlando, Houston, and Chicago to follow. If those next few games were against the Pistons or Wizards instead, there's a big chance Embiid wouldn't miss those. Destroyed by 36 to the Knicks, still in the game, 5:40 left, down 32, hit 2 free throws to keep that 30-piece streak alive to nobody's surprise. Still played over 36 minutes, go figure. Missed next 3. Then dropped 41 on Houston like he didn't miss a beat. Many question, how injured is he really? If he can return and still dominate, played between 31 to 39 minutes next 6 games, a scoring average 42 points before mysteriously saying no last minute during warm-ups in Denver, leading to league investigations bearing any serious injury. Embiid might just play exactly 65 games, just 20 minutes-ish certain nights if he's okay not worrying about dropping 30 every time. Is he just James Harden 2.0? Elite talent, all the regular season scoring numbers in the world, multiple scoring titles, high-level flopper who melts every postseason? Joel deserves his fair share of criticism, but the Sixers organization allowed for this type of behavior, not even being questionable. On the injury report, the Sixers IG page posted a pic with Joel and Jokic hyping that matchup for absolutely nothing, an absolute travesty. Cheapest tickets being $175, a place where he goes once a year. Nobody cares if he averages 40. Joel will never be the face representing the NBA, being super unreliable even if he is hurt before those big games, already has the ducking other good teams labeled associated with him. His numbers look great on paper, but when he loses in the playoffs, underperforms, it's absolutely his fault, avoiding great teams in regular season play to begin with. How can he expect to elevate his game with the lack of repetitions? When he's too focused padding those stats on shit teams, he won't be playing the Wizards or Pistons come playoff time. Showing up at home though, his comfort zone, still haunted by Jokic game winner back in 2019. Imagine showing up to work, then all of a sudden arriving at work, you don't want to work when it's time to actually start working. So much for the bootlegged narrative of NBA rivalry week. Literally the biggest difference between Embiid compared to the Jokic and Giannis of the world, Joel more than talented enough to give anybody on the planet 40, and there's no stopping him. Only thing stopping Joel is Embiid himself. Still doesn't have the mental discipline, gets in his own head too much, overthink things, hesitates, while Jokic keeps his emotions intact, always calm and collective. Giannis learned to be fearless, not afraid of failure. Joel seems to forget about the larger picture when he forces himself playing a little more minutes against whack teams to maintain a scoring streak. If every player took some games off due to their choice, avoiding better teams, their numbers will look better too. Strategically sitting out games, an absolute new low that'll forever be remembered as part of Embiid's legacy. The NBA wouldn't have existed without the mentality and emergence of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Those two set the standards for competing at the highest levels. Joel's a reflection of why many call this generation's players soft, sitting out against Gobert, Porzingis, Bam, and now Jokic in their house, many accusing him last March. He still hasn't shown up, trying to still ride that 70-point game for his MVP narrative if he does play enough games. Guess what? Nobody cares about that anymore. When Luka Doncic surpassed that with 73 4 days later, all his backlash can be forgotten if he finally gets past round 2 of the playoffs and actually perform well in the postseason. But given the missed games against elite teams on the road, will this coming season continue leading to the same old disappointments? Or will Joel Embiid finally wake up, smell the coffee, see the big picture, and advance to the conference finals? Until then, he's nowhere near the same stratosphere as Giannis and Jokic.